So I'll be talking today about Apache Unomi. That's an open source customer data platform. So for those of you who don't know me yet, I'll go very quickly through the introduction. So I'm the co-founder and CTO of Jahia. I'm an Apache committer on the Jackrabbit and Apache Unomi projects. I'm the co-chair of the Oasis Context Server Technical Committee. I'll talk about what that is in a few slides. I have about 20 years of web development experience. I'm a coder at heart. I've been coding since I was 7, but there's a better coder in the room than me. He's right there, promise. And I'm also very interested in user experiences, something that I always try to go back to remember why we're doing this. So let's get into a definition first. What is a customer data platform? So if I take it from Wikipedia, it's a marketer-based management system. It creates a persistent, unified customer database that's accessible to other systems. Data is pulled from multiple sources, cleaned and combined to create a single customer profile. So this data is then available to other marketing systems, and it provides real-time segmentation for personalized marketing. And right now, they estimate the market about $300 million, and it's projected to reach about $1 billion by 2019. So what we're seeing is, because of this new definition, the market is actually understanding this technology better and growing. So why would you need a customer data platform? So let's say you want to learn more about your visitors, or you want to deliver personalized experiences on your website or a mobile application. You want to make sure also you comply with all the new strict regulations such as the GDPR, but there are also others coming in other countries, such as the United States. You want to be in control of your analytics and personalization instead of giving away all your data, like a lot of people are now when they're using Google Analytics. Basically, if you want to access the raw data of Google Analytics, you have to pay like huge amounts of money just to get access to it. And of course, the last one is if you want to avoid reinventing the wheel by building your own solution. So a lot of people are using like big data technologies to do these kind of things. So what is Apache Unomi? It's basically an open source customer data platform. It's a Java platform. It's based on a completely modular and highly scalable architecture. It's event-based. So everything that comes into Unomi is an event, and it uses Elasticsearch as a scalable backend for persistence and querying. It's also the reference implementation of something called the Context Server Specification Standard. So what is the Context Server Specification Standard? Well, actually, it's going to change name. Because recently we said it would be much better if it was called Customer Data Platform Standard. And so this was just accepted, and from now on we'll be using that name for the standard. It's a standard established at the Oasis Foundation. It's defined as a standard to deliver personalized experiences. And it allows for interoperability between customer data systems. So that's one of the biggest issues, is that you have a lot of different systems and there's no standard to exchange the data. Now, Apache Unomi is an implementation of this standard, and the standard specifies the public API and internal API. The public API is focused on data collection and decisioning, and the internal API is focused on customer data management, analytics, and configuration. So what was the project started at Apache? And actually this picture was taken last Thursday in Montreal, and you can see the Unomi sticker here. But there's a lot of different Apache projects on the table here. Well, the first reason was that no open source implementation of a Java customer data platform existed. And Apache is very, very well recognized to provide platform solutions. And it's also truly independent. For example, GitHub just got acquired by Microsoft. So a lot of people were thinking, you know, I'll put my code on GitHub. But if you're doing that, you're not actually in a truly independent area. Now, Apache is also recognized to provide solid and recognized infrastructure. And a lot of systems are running Apache software. And of course, last but not least, the community at Apache is really great. And with a great community, good things can happen to code, even if it didn't start out. Well, in the case of Unomi, it's a good, but some projects have tremendously evolved since they started Apache. So let's look at Unomi from the standpoint of functionalities. So it features user tracking, event tracking, goal tracking and scoring, segmentation, form input tracking, download tracking, impersonification, also known as personas, A/B testing, profile management and export, reporting, and last but not least, privacy management. So I want to just take a few minutes to talk about privacy here, because it used to be something that nobody cared about, really, in terms of engineering, but it's become now a very strong requirement. With the GDPR, a new UI directive that imposes strict conditions on how to deal with customer data, there are very big fines. So that means that up to 4% of a global turnover of a company could be used as a fine if you're not compliant with the GDPR. Or 20 million euros, whichever is higher. Oops, sorry, I went too fast. Consent for data usage is now explicitly required, and the consequence of that is that everybody was so surprised about being scared of these fines that they just built all these ugly pop-ups. So now you have all these ugly pop-ups on every website that you visit, and that's just because they've rushed to it and they've made whatever they could to be in compliance. And despite that, most of them are not compliant. And users must be able to download their profiles or delete them. So of course, Unomi was in a unique position to support all that. So it has profile property management. It has a way to define personal identifiers properties. It has a way to anonymize a profile based on what is defined as personal identifier properties. It has consent management built in the API, not only getting initial consent, but updating it later also. It has private browsing, so it's the equivalent of your browser's private browsing, but on the server. And it has the possibility to download your profile as an end user. So in Marketing Factory, in Jahia Marketing Factory, we have a way to define consents, and this is the UI, where basically you define your consents and what they mean to your end users, and that will be used then in a pop-up that's also part of Marketing Factory, and it's built using Apache Unomi's consent API. And you can see here that there's two consents, one's for the monthly newsletter subscription and the other one for personalization. And so this is what the end user will see. And this is part of the UI, the reporting UI, where you can see, for example, for the personalization consent, how many people have accepted the personalization and how many people have denied. And what's also very interesting is that GDPR states that you can't force people to accept or deny a consent. So you can also have people that have not answered. Now, let's talk about performance and scalability of Unomi. So at Jahia, we test Unomi almost on a weekly basis with a database of over 5 million profiles. And we will probably grow that because now we're testing this very regularly. The server is designed to be highly scalable. And Elasticsearch also helps you grow on the backend side. But despite that, we are aware of some bottlenecks right now. And the first one is ingestion speed, where basically if you're hammering it with a lot of data, you might hit some barriers. And the second one is the CPU usage of the rule processing. But fortunately, there's a pretty easy solution. It's basically, as it's a scalable architecture, you can just add more nodes. And that will help you address these issues. Because you can load balance easily the load to your servers. And you can then just add more nodes. Of course, that doesn't mean we don't want to improve those bottlenecks. But that already means that we can do quite a lot. Let's look at some use cases of how to use Apache Unomi. So the one we know the best is website tracking and personalization, where basically you have a CMS like Jahia DX, where you ask it for a page, it gives you back HTML, and a Unomi configuration. And then you ask for Unomi for the context that contains the profile, and including the segments. And then you can just say, okay, now I have the profile, I know something about these people, and give me content that's relevant for these people. So you can send to DX a request for personalized content, and this request will actually call Unomi and say, okay, I have these different pieces of content, I have these different conditions for these parts of content. Can you please evaluate these with the current profile and give me whichever is most relevant, or if there's more than one that's relevant, order them. And so that's what happens in the end. You get the personalized content back. Another use case that's perfectly acceptable is the case of a mobile application where you would like to integrate some personalization. So here the flow is an example flow, but you could, of course, have different ones. So the mobile application would be responsible for tracking the profile identifier and the session identifier. You send that to Unomi, it gives you back the profile. And then you can just send events from your mobile app directly to Unomi. For example, say, oh, the mobile app has woken up from sleep. Or you can say, the user has clicked and changed the screen on the mobile application, now he's in a different screen. Or you could also say you want to integrate content coming from a CMS in your mobile application. So in this case, you do the exact same thing. You ask the CMS, for example, through the GraphQL API, for personalized content, and again, it will do the exact same thing, talk to Unomi and send back personalized content or screens. Quickly, an overview of the architecture. So Unomi is a Karaf, runs in the Apache Karaf runtime, which is also clusterizable. And basically, it has in front a REST API that's built using CXF plus some custom servlets. And inside of Unomi, there's a lot of different services. So there's like shell commands, a rule engine, a profile service, a segment service, a definition service for custom conditions and actions, a query service, an event service, a personalization service, and a goal service. And all of these, of course, talk to an Elasticsearch cluster. Now, the last ones are actions. So these are actions that are implemented, and I'll come back to them. But we have Salesforce actions, weather actions, and MailChimp actions, for example. There are more, but I'm just giving you these three examples for the moment. Now, let's look inside of Unomi, what exactly is inside of it. So basically, the most important, I'll start on the right here, inside of Unomi, is the profiles. So it's managing these profiles. Based on these profiles, we can build segments. And also, with the input that's coming into Unomi, we can execute rules. So you have on the left side events being sent in from a web page or from a mobile app. And coming out on the left side, you have the personalized web page or a personalized mobile application. And based on what's coming in the events, it will trigger rules. And on the right side, you could have Unomi talk to a CRM, to big data systems, or even to a data management platform. I forgot to say that if you have any questions, don't feel free to raise your hand and interrupt. That's absolutely fine. I'm actually also going through some slides now, but I hope to have time to do a live demo. So custom plugins may implement rule conditions. They may implement rule actions. They may deploy some rules. Or actually, they may do anything an OSGI bundle can do. So that means pretty much everything. I won't take any questions, too many questions about custom plugins, because right after me, there's Damien that's going to show you how to do one. So I think that'll cover a lot of your questions. Let's look at an example deployment. So this is a complicated graph, but it's quite comprehensive. So this is an architecture that we recommend for performance and scalability and reliability. So we have basically CMS nodes here. So we have three. We have 3 Unomi nodes and 3 Elasticsearch nodes. And in front of that, we have an Apache server that's doing load balancing. And of course, at the top, you have the browsers that are talking to the load balancer. So this is an example of an architecture that will actually allow you to scale pretty well and handle quite a lot of traffic already. I want to show you a little bit what an actual profile looks like inside of Unomi. So you have the top part that's generic properties. Here you can see my first name, last name, and so forth. You then have the system properties part with goals, where basically you can see I've started on a goal and I've reached another goal. You have the segments I'm part of, so I'm part of the over 30 mail and technology. You have the scores, so scores are defined by, for example, views of content. So I say, I'm sorry, I've used such content, that's going to give me some points, and if I see other things or do other actions, I'll get more points. And finally, my consents. So basically, this means I've accepted the tracking consent, but I've refused the newsletter consent. Now, let's talk about segments quickly. So they're defined as conditions on profiles. So for example, rich people over 30, that means it's a profile that has an income of over 200,000 and his age is over 30. Or an active visitor interested in technology is a profile that's read 10 pages with the tag technology and created 10 sessions in the last 10 days. So just an example of how you build these segments. Now, one important part is the rule engine. So basically, a rule is just when the condition is true, then actions are executed. And what's important with Unomi, opposition to other customer data platforms, is that it does that in real time. So whenever an event comes in, rules are executed. So for example, when a page event occurs, a page view event occurs, then we increment the profile's page count for that page. Or when a login event occurs and it comes from a trusted third party, we copy the login account information into the profile. I mean, this is an example. We can merge with other existing profiles. If he's browsed on his mobile and authenticated in different systems, we can then merge the profiles. We can send the updated profile to an external system, such as a CRM. So let's talk about integrations now. So, well, actually, out of the box, you have a few integrations that are available. So the first one is a weather API that the open weather API map that we use, basically just to enrich the session with local weather. So we can build personalization and say, okay, this person is in a warm place or something like that. And the second one is Salesforce. So here we can update accounts coming from Salesforce or read the data that's inside of Salesforce. Another one is Twitter. So this is an example that's also provided with Unomi, where basically you can track clicks on Unomi. Send things to Twitter when a user has done an action. And finally, MailChimp, where you can basically update MailChimp lists based on conditions inside of Unomi. But of course, you can also build your own using custom actions. And again, I'm plugging Damian's talk, where he'll be showing you how to do this and build your own integration in Unomi. I've mentioned Jahia Marketing Factory. Basically, it's a UI on top of Unomi. A lot of the actual work is being done by Apache Unomi. What Marketing Factory really brings is a UI that's quite comprehensive. It's built using AngularJS, and it provides a very tight integration also with Jahia DX. So those are the parts that are really specific to Marketing Factory. Now, we are aware of a couple of other users of Apache Unomi, I'm sorry. For example, in China, there's a company actually that built an advertisement system using Apache Unomi. So the advertisement systems are usually high performance and they need to deliver fast. And we also know of a customer, not a customer, but a user that's evaluating Unomi to build a personalization for one of the largest TV network sites in the world. I'm not at liberty to share the name, but it's pretty big. And of course, if you're aware of people using Unomi, please let us know. We'd love to know that and maybe help. Okay, so let's see how we're doing for time. All right, I'll try to spend a few minutes. I want to show how to quickly integrate Unomi into a static website, just using Unomi. So what we'll do is we're going to use Unomi to update an existing website, to build tracking directly into it, to see the page view events that are coming in, to look at profile examples, and then to try to build personalization. So I just hope I will do this fast enough so we can get through all of it. So this is the website. It's the actual Unomi website at Apache. That's a static website, but I'll be using a local copy. And what we'll do is that we'll use a tracker that's been integrated into Unomi based on a library called analytics.js. And so this is the snippet we'll be adding into the site to track what the users are doing. So let's see if I can bring this up. Okay, so let's go quickly to the website here. And here we go. So that's the website. I have it running locally. It's a copy of the Unomi website. And I have the HTML here. I'm trying to make it larger. All right. And here you can see I have Google Analytics here. All right. But I don't want Google Analytics. I said it's a bad thing to have Google Analytics in your website. So I'm going to stick to what I said, and I'm going to start integrating Unomi instead into it. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this snippet here, and I'm going to replace there we go. And basically what you see here is that I have the scope here, the Unomi website, and then here that's the URL to my Unomi instance. I'm going to save this, and I have a few pages here that are the top level pages, and they're all basically using the same script, so I'm just going to do these quickly. And so I'm just replacing all these instances. This is not ideal. Ideally, we should have a proper header, but the Unomi website was redesigned quickly recently, and so we didn't have. Okay, now what I'm just going to do here is I'm just going to. That's all right. I'm just going to redeploy it. So I have a local web server, and I'm just rebuilding the project and sending it to the local web server. And at the same time, what I'm going to do here, I need to make this larger so you can see it. All right. And let's see here. Yeah. All right, so here what I have is that I have a command. So this is one of the shell commands I was showing you. And basically, if I do this, it will monitor all the events that are coming into Unomi. So what I can do here is just go back to my website here and try to reload it. And you see here, 2 events have already come into Unomi. So the session created and the view event have come in. And along with that, I have the information about the session and the profile. And if I want, I could directly go in here and have a look at the profile. And say here, I want to look at the profile. So this, of course, these types of tools are more targeted to integrators that are trying to figure out what's exactly going on in the system. So if I go back to this event tail, I can check that basically on all the pages that I've put my tracking code, I've gotten, I guess I didn't put it everywhere, or I didn't save the files, I'm not sure. But basically you'll see that here I have a view for each of the pages where I put the content. Now, if I go into Marketing Factory, so here we go. Let me refresh that. You'll see here also, well, I did this a few times, this demonstration, but you see here basically that this is my website. Again, remember, this is a static website. I'm not using DX at all. And you can see that I've had 73 hits here, 4 hits for this page, and 3 hits for this page. So directly inside of Marketing Factory, I can actually track what's going on inside my static website. And now, the last thing I want to show you is, let's see if we can use this to track, to actually build some personalization. So here, this is going to take a few more steps. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, okay, here we go. I'm going to go back to the home page. And if you remember the home page, there's this banner here. And we want to personalize this banner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find this banner here. Here it is. And I'm going to make a copy of it in HTML. And then I'm going to start putting some IDs on this content. So let me just check that I do it right. Too many windows. So the first one is var1. Okay. So I'll put var1. Oops, sorry. var1 here. It's a little bit small. I'm sorry, but I'll just tell you what I'm doing here. And I'm put the style to display none. So that means I don't want to display this, and I'll put the background color to gray. All right, so that's the first banner, and here I'm also going to change this, and instead of learn more, I'll say join our community. And here I'll send the people to the community page. And down here, all I'm going to do is put an ID on this other variant of the content. And put the style to display none. So this is because we'll be using JavaScript to decide which one we want to display, and by default we don't want them to display at all. And then finally all I need to do is add some JavaScript, and I'll try to make this bigger so you can read it. Just after this, I'm just going to add some JavaScript. There we go. So basically what this JavaScript does is sets up a personalization. We say we want to use the strategy of the first matching content. If nothing matches, I say the fallback is the second variant. And we define one filter condition where basically we say this condition will match if the session lasts at least 5 seconds and if it's not over a huge amount of seconds. And basically that's it. So that's normally all we need. So now we need to save this. And oops, just need to go back to deploy it. And what I'm going to do here also is I'm going to close this window to make sure I'm starting from scratch. So I'm going to open a new incognito window, and I'm going to load the site. So you see here that basically I still have the same banner. I'm emulating a visitor that's coming for the first time. Now, I think I've talked more than 5 seconds, so let's see if it works. There we go. So basically what has happened here is that it tracked me, noticed we were over 5 seconds, it ran that personalization code, and now it has personalized the content here, and it says join our community here. So if I click here on join our community, you can see that I'm going to a different page, the community page. Now if I go back and I open another new browser, emulating a newcomer, I'm back to the original page. So, let's go back to the slides quickly. I showed you how to view events and profiles, how to add personalization. I showed you the variants. So we thought, sorry if I know I'm running a little bit late, but basically what's next for Unomi? So the next thing is to graduate to a top-level project. Right now it's in the incubator. But I'm very happy to say that the process has been started yesterday. We had our mentor here that helped us. We also want to improve scalability. We have projects for Kafka integration. And actually, again, our mentor is helping us with that. We want to implement the final version of the CXS spec. And we're talking about providing a web UI directly inside of Unomi. The last version of the spec, now called the CDP spec, it has switched from REST API to GraphQL. So we'll be implementing the GraphQL API, but we'll keep the REST API as well for compatibility. GraphQL, as I said yesterday, makes it very easy to integrate with different types of clients. And you also have these nice types of tools, like this is GraphQL Playground. So it's a more powerful version than GraphQL. And it makes it really easy and, I would say, fun to integrate and to play with it. If you're interested in resources, the Unomi website is unomi.apache.org. There's a GitHub mirror, of course, for Marketing Factory and DX, Jahia website. And for the specification, we have both the technical committee and GitHub, where we're doing all our work. Maybe I can take one or two quick questions, if you have some. No? Okay, well, I'll leave the floor to Damien, and thank you very much.